Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back. Once again, it's been a while. I've been pretty busy with the West Boss Advanced React course. If you don't know, it's 70 videos long. It covers Next.js, GraphQL, Apollo, styled components, testing with Jest, um, deploying to Heroku, the whole gamut. It's a giant course, but I've been really enjoying it. I want to call out some other new stuff around here. You'll notice the lighting looks a little bit better. I installed some Philip Hue lights, and I've got it on this like light blue color right now, and so I think it lights up my face a little bit better. I look a little bit better on camera, and also installed some blackout curtains over here. Really helps with if I ever stream during the daytime from blocking light coming in. Anyways, today's stream is all about preparing for my next Frontend Guild talk. If you don't know, I run the Frontend Guild at Adobe on the Magento campus in Austin. And this week, my topic was selected to be presented, and I realized, crap, I don't have anything prepared just yet. I wanted to give a talk about React context and hooks and how it's a good alternative for state management to Redux. A lot of people at Magento like to use Redux first, and I hope this talk can kind of convince them otherwise. Start with context and hooks, and probably never move to Redux if you ask me. So I want to make that point really well. What I'm going to do in today's video is try to whip up the code example. Ken C. Dawes has a blog post about application state management in React. And at the very end of it, he has this great like app tree that has a bunch of different context providers. And I think it's a perfect example to implement, pieces of it into this short talk that I'm going to give. So let me flip over and show you this article. If you don't know Ken C. Dawes, he's awesome. I don't even know what he does now. He's a full-time educator. He runs a podcast, does a newsletter, he's got a blog, does YouTube videos. The guy does everything, but primarily his goal is education. And he's got this great blog post. I'll link it in the chat. And all the way at the very bottom, look, he's got this, he makes this point, really, that says, not all of your context needs to be globally accessible. And honestly, that right there is the primary reason why Redux never made sense to me. We're going to keep all of your state and make it globally accessible to every single component in your library. That seems a little weird. So he says, keep state as close to where it's needed as possible. And I think this is where context, and especially context with hooks, makes this really easy to do. You just wrap just the piece of your application, just the component that needs a particular piece of context in a provider. And the great thing is you can have multiple contexts. So think of one context as one Redux store. But you'll have context for, in this case, look, like a theme context or an authentication context, or a notifications context, a user context. And because these are broken up into different logical areas, you can actually place them in your application more granularly. And that's the goal. It'll cause less re-renders. It's easier to reason about. You don't have one gigantic store with tons of stuff in it. Instead, you have these tiny pieces that only certain things in your application care about. That was the 4-minute version of my talk. So I want to take some of the ideas from this and create like just a little demo application where I can have multiple different context providers in something that kind of makes sense. So I love like the notification or like a toast context. That would be great. And a user context. And I might do something like a cart context. And I think with those three things, users kind of has to be global. The cart's not global. It really just matters for your cart. And the notification context would be Not necessarily global, just whatever needs to fire it. So this will be pretty cool. So I'm going to start from a completely fresh repository and go from there. So I'm going to head over to my GitHub. What was the last repository that I did that was a talk? I think I can actually come over here and search for talk. Talk. No? Okay. Gatsby plus Netlify. That was my last talk I gave. And let's see what I did here. Talks, Gatsby, Netlify. I didn't do anything special. So let's just follow the same formula, make a new repository. I think I'm going to call this context plus hooks. All right, great. Got Labor Day. Got Labor Day coming up. What are you guys doing for Labor Day? My family and I are headed up to Arlington to hang out with my parents, taking the kids up there. We're going to go on the boat, have a pool party, have a barbecue. It should be fun. Okay, so context plus hooks. There's nothing there. Let's do a README. What else do we need? Oh, God, I guess I probably started this wrong. Yeah, go figure. I need to, don't save. I need to actually start this with my Gatsby starter just to get this up and running quickly. So. I need to do Gatsby, new. I always forget how to do this. You give it like the link to the GitHub repo? It's my Gatsby starter. What, just copy this? Gatsby news site directory URL of starter git repo. So let's do Gatsby new context plus hooks and then paste in, yep, my repository. This should do it. Let me tell you, y'all, this computer is chugging right now. I cannot wait to get my new one built. Literally, the parts are right there. Okay, la-di-da. This will take a while. Oh, dude, I could have used this new template feature. I should totally try that. Man, let's do that. Let's go repositories. Instead of using the Gatsby new starter situation, let's just go here, delete context plus hooks, settings. Where's delete? All the way at the bottom. Delete. Okay, so let's try this again. Let's do the Gatsby starter. Sorry, now I gotta cancel this and remove the whole thing. Okay, so how do I do this? How do we make a new repository that's a new repository? How can I do like from template? Yes. Ooh. Cool. That's great. Much better. Now I don't have to, well, I'm still going to have to install stuff, but when I clone it down, I don't have to do any of the git init crap. Just clone it. That's great. Okay. This is going to be talks, React, context, hooks, Redux, state management. Cool. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Now let's just clone that. Okay, and then we can do reload code there. Awesome. And we can npm install. Okay. I've been watching Scott Tolinsky mess around with his new recording setup, and I'm pretty jealous. He does it right. Then again, he does it for a living, but I'm amazed at how he's able to get his microphone out of the shot. Because I think he does his standing and talking segments, or like when he does his talking segments, he's standing up. And then I think the camera's looking at him in the face so he can move the microphone like slightly under his chin. And I think that makes sense. But see, I'm live coding, and so I have to talk and type and sit all at the same time. And I think in those situations, you kind of have to have everything you need right here. But Scott and I both got new lights. Mine are the overhead ones, but he's got his like light boxes behind the desk, which is so cool. But that means, you'd have to move the desk away from the wall. And I share this office with my wife. And that'd get a little awkward, just like sitting way back here. Okay, hopefully one day this finishes. So what kind of things are we going to need to build? Page user settings. Okay, it's done. Let's see. Is it npm run dev? Npm start. That should give us something to look at. Okay, sweet. Okay. So here's what I want to do. I need to make a directory in here called context. And let me just double check, pull this up for reference. Context. Yeah. Oh, maybe I did it on GiftX. Yeah, sweet. Okay, user.js. Okay, cool. Yeah. So what kind of context are we going to have here? We're going to have a user context. I would love to have like a notification context. And what else? What kind of application was this? Nothing really. Let's start with these two. So in our components, in our header, I probably want to have like links. Let's say a button that says log in and a button that says log out. Great. And these are going to do things. I don't know. We'll call it right now. We'll call it handle login and handle logout. I don't know what those are going to be for now, but let's just stub it out. Okay, so we have handle login, handle logout, and let's just console log that. And make sure this is all wired up properly. Login, handle login, logout, handle logout. Cool. So let's make this user context. And I always have to refer back to the docs. React context. Context. Looks like Yeah. So it looks like you do React create context. So in our user context, we will import React from React. Actually, how do I do my imports in this one here? Yeah, use state, create context. Okay, cool. So this is going to be the user context. And the default value is going to be nothing. All right, now what else did I do here in this user context? Yes, okay. I have a provider. Okay. And I export the context and the provider. I go capital. And what is this here? What is this here? It's just a component. Ah, yes, yes, yes. And you get the provider off of the context. Great. And you export user context so that you can pull that in later on, and the providers, you could wrap whatever components are necessary for this. And the provider defines the methods. I create a variable called context, whatever the value is, and pass it through. Sweet. And context is just a giant object of the things that you want to make available to the things underneath. So we want to make three things available: user, login, and logout. So this is the methods to log in and log out the user and the user object itself. Okay. Sweet. How do we want to fake this right now? Because I don't want to actually have somebody like sign up and do all this stuff. I just want to have like a login button that when you press it, like populates something by default. So let's just say like Brad or me is equal to a user has what, like a first name, a last name, an email. I don't know, and an age. How old am I? 32. So on login, let's log in. And what are we going to do here? We're going to say like user is equal to me. And on log out, user is going to be equal to like null. But what is user? User will be held in state. And we'll use hooks for that. Initially, it's nothing. And we'll set the user just like this. So on login, we use the set user hook to set the user to this static me. And on log out, we set the user to nothing, which will make it as null. And then the context that we pass down is user, login, and logout. And I think that's going to work. And the context provider is a component that we call user provider. And we could wrap anything in user provider. All it is this. And so it just provides this context to any elements that are underneath it. And children's probably not defined in prop types. So we'll say user provider dot prop types. It's going to equal, and we need to import prop types. And what do we have here? Children is a what? I never know what children is. What prop type is children? What is children though? Element? Array of React prop types. No, that makes sense. Yep. React prop types any. How did I do it here? Yeah, prop types.node. I'll go with that. So prop types.node. I suppose it's required. I mean, you don't want to wrap nothing. What's the point of that? Okay, so drink of water. Drink of water. Let's see if we can provide this user context to this header. Where do we want to put it? Let's literally put it at the lowest possible denominator. So we'll import user provider from context. And I like to make an index file here as well. We'll export star from user and notification. Okay, so now we've got the user provider. And I always forget, what else do we need to do? Let's take a look. User provider. Let's shoot on over to Iron Jimmy again. Search for provider. Really? Not found. I know it's in here. Let's go over to like cart or something. It's got to be in there. Cart. Cart context. Let's see. Where is like cart? It's got to be in there somewhere. Okay, I can't find it. That's okay. So we'll do user provider and user context. And I believe now you can say the hook use context. Const user context is equal to the use context hook, where we pass in user context. And this is where I don't think this is going to work. Right. The provider has to be above this. So the provider would have to be in layout and wrap the header. So you've got the provider wrapping. Oh, what's failing? Cool. So you've got the provider wrapping the header, and then inside of the header, you're able to pull in context. And now we've got user context, and we have access to anything in there. So instead of this handle login and handle logout event, we've moved that into the user context. And now all you have to say is user context dot login. User context dot logout. Let's see if this actually works. It actually does get called. And let's just, in the header, in a paragraph output I don't know, JSON.stringify the user. Sorry, user context dot user. So it's nothing. I log in, there's me. I log out, I'm gone. Sweet. And let's destructure this to be the user, login, and logout methods. I think I'm going way too fast for this talk. Shit. Just realized I should have definitely like backed up and made branches and everything. All right, so let's see. What's different? Package lock? Sure, let's commit that. How did I handle branching on my other repository? It's called Gatsby plus Netlify. And what were my branches? Like master, which was like the whole one. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's do this. Header, index. Yeah, like all this stuff needs to go away. So from here, we'll do a get checkout dash b 00, and we'll call it like Gatsby starter. And I'll push that up as the first step. Let's just check. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, now from here, let's start like scaffolding out what it is that I want to do. What I want to do, let's get some like, okay. Let's focus on the user thing. Let's do user first. So in header, I almost want to wipe out like literally everything on the whole entire page. No, that's okay. I want to make this a simple demo, but at the same time, how simple do I want to go? Because what is even navigation? Okay. Navigation is what? Home and about. This is going to need no navigation. So let's delete it. Okay, so right now, I'm just trying to get basically like a basic header with a login, logout button on there. This whole context folder is whatever. This is going to require a lot of React knowledge before walking into this tutorial. So 2 super simple buttons. Log in and log out. Great. They're not going to be pretty. They're just going to exist. Maybe we can make them pretty, but I don't know what we'd call them. Const, let's say, you just want to say button maybe? Like user button. It's going to equal style.button. Give it a border radius. We'll give it a border of like 2 pixels, solid white. Where's my theme? I have a white in there. Yeah. So we'll pull white off the theme. And how do they look? That is not white. What the? Why? Why is my... What the heck? Oh, something's wrong. Theme.colors.white, that's why. Okay, cool. Background. Should it be purple? Yeah. Theme.colors.dark purple. Or maybe light purple. Yep. Color will be white. Ooh. Black. Give it a little padding. 1 rem. Oh my god, that's too much. Let's do top and bottom 0.25 rems, left and right 0.5 rems. A little more, a little more. Let's increase the font weight and make that color white. And then let's make it dark purple. Better. And we'll just give it some. What do we want to do? Put it in a grid? This header needs some stuff. Oh, flex. Can you justify? No. Align content center? No, align items center. I always forget. Yes, there we go. And here, let's say authentication buttons. And we can make that a style component. And we'll just display a grid on it. And we will do a grid, no, a column gap of 1 rem. And we'll do a grid auto flow column. Cool. Not bad. So I want that to be our starting state. And so I can call this like, I don't know. User buttons, maybe. I don't think I want the increased font weight. That looks funny. What's the font size here? Not going to tell me your font size, huh? Because this isn't Roboto, is it? Okay, sweet. That's interesting. I don't layout. Font family, Roboto, or sans serif. I guess that doesn't apply to buttons. What about our global styles? Then maybe I can take it off the header. Yeah. Now I'm just trying to figure out the style or the size of this font here. I don't know, maybe if I just make it one rem, it'll work out. A little too big. Wow, that's the difference. Like, I just want to know what the size of this friggin' text is. Okay, whatever. Okay, good enough for like a quick thing. Yep. Google's talking to me. Yeah, okay. So I think this is good for the starting state of our user context. Because what I'd like to do is probably just like do a couple things with the header based on the user context. Is this good enough? Is this good enough? Yeah, it should be fine. What changes did I make here? I got rid of navigation completely, which is totally fine. Header. I added the two styled components. Align the item center. And added in these quick buttons that do not much. Okay, sweet. I'm happy with this. So I'm going to say git checkout-b 01 authentication buttons. And then let's see, I'll add the header changes and the navigation changes and my global style changes. And that's it. Authentication buttons. Alrighty, so that is now pushed up. We have so the next thing I'd like to do is, let's see, O2, let's call it user context. Yeah, user context. So this is where we create this index file. And we go through this whole thing. We create a context and we create the provider. And that's pretty much all we needed to do. So checking here, we've got our index, which is just pulling in from user, and we've defined our user context. Who needs age? Okay. Okay, and next up, I'll call it user provider. And what that'll do is we'll walk through adding the provider for the user context and then utilizing the context values. Three user provider. Yeah. And so this is where we would say, okay, our header now needs to be wrapped in the user provider. Simple as that. And how easy, user provider from context. And now down in our header, we can bring in our user context. And we need the use context hook in order to gain access to the contents of the context. Yeah. And this can be destructured into user, login, and log out. I'll write that in 2 lines to try to make it like super clear instead of just, well, nah, we'll just do it right. And then we can replace these methods with login and log out. And this can now become, if there is a user, make it the user.name, and if there's not a user, make it header. So it's header because there's no user. We're going to log in. User doesn't have a name. User has a first name. And log out. Again, log out. Sweet. Okay, this is great. I think that's all we need there. So the layout got updated for the user provider, which gave access to the user context to the header. And the header used the use context hook to bring in context and then used it appropriately. Whoops. O3. There we go. Okay, so that's our first example of using context, but we need another example, but not really related. So like, I like this idea of a notification, and maybe we just like throw up a toast that says like, user logged in. So let's make a component called, let's collapse all that. Notification.js. Okay. What is this going to need? Let's definitely import styled from styled components. And I want to just get the look of this right. So how do we absolutely position this? I always have to go look this stuff up. CSS positioning. Whoops. Position value is absolute or fixed. The top right, bottom left, specify offsets from the edges. So CSS, absolute position, bottom center. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, so this is going to be position fixed. This is a notification wrapper, and let's just put a paragraph tag in there that says like, user logged in. And let's put this on the layout. There's container, footer, and then I'll just notification. And I'll bring it in. Okay, now how do we want to do this? Need some styles on this biatch. Kind of like the buttons in the header. I like the border radius. No, I don't like the border radius. Let's get rid of the border radius. I don't even like the border. And let's do... Cool. Let's make this more. Let's make this one all the way around. Oy. No. I want more on the left and right. How does this work as the screen gets smaller? Yeah, that's fine. Let's make the margin 0 on that paragraph. There. Now I can say, like, I should be able to say like 1 all the way around. That looks decent, but I want 1 on the top and bottom and like 2 on the right and left. Maybe even chunkier. Like 1.5 top and bottom. Okay. Okay, that's something. What if I did it like this? Oh, that looks like shit. Don't listen to me. Yeah, okay. So that's not too bad. That's what our toast message is going to look like. Actually, you know what let's do? This will be cool. What if it had its border radius just on the right? So CSS border radius, sure, generator. Wow. Oh, okay. That's pretty simple. Cool. It was 8. Eh, 8 pixels that I was using. Yeah, so not, yeah, that's sick. Now just the right has those, so as it slides in, and I'm gonna hopefully have it slide in, it's gonna look pretty cool. I can't tell you how much I'm enjoying working on something that's not Wes Boss's course. While the course has been teaching me a lot, it's kind of frustrating to just be guided through everything. There's no creativity. This is pretty nice. Okay, so how do we start changing this thing? Like it needs to be reactive somehow. Um I mean, I feel like it's going to get a prop called message. No, because it's going to read it from hooks. I think what I need is a use effect that, like, after a few minutes, it just returns null. So let's do like a use state in here. And initially it's going to be whatever they pass in. Okay. And we're basically going to say, if not message, return null. Otherwise, return message. And so in layout, let's just try this. Notification message is going to equal sub bro. Okay. Now, what's going to happen is after a certain amount of time, which means we need a use effect, message is going to get set to empty. So let's look up these docs for use effect. Yep. Okay. Hmm. I wonder if this will work. Set timeout takes what? Call back. And let's make this like what? Time in how long? So supposedly after three... It worked. This is a little complicated. So this says, what if I do this? Effects run on every update. Yeah, well, that's cool. Okay. So this is working pretty well, but I'm trying to think of like what our starting point is. You know, maybe this is not something we want to start with. Maybe we just want to have like the toast example and that's it. Like it's sitting there and then we say, okay, how do we manage it with state? Or rather context. We need a toast emoji. What the shit? Okay, cool. Yeah, I think we start there. I don't think I want to build in this timeout stuff yet. Because our context could just be like something pretty easy where it's like, I don't know, like notification and like that's it. I don't know. I just know we should start here. Yes. What's a good emoji for notification? Oh, this is pretty good. Because you gotta have emojis. Does it go at the front or the end? Which one do we like better? At the end. Yeah, okay. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Yeah, so we'll definitely start here. Like, so let's recap what we've changed. We've got the layout, which includes the notification now, and the notification itself. So 04, we'll call this, what are my other branches called? Authentication buttons. User context, user provider. I think I'm going to call it notification, and then I'll call it notification context, notification provider. Alrighty. Moving on to 05, notification context. This is where we can start working in our notification.js. And we'll just copy everything over from user. And we will change this from user context to notification context. And user provider as notification provider. Okay, so what kind of things is this going to need to do? It's going to need to have a notification and set notification. Yes, and initially it's nothing. Is that it? I think so. Okay, cool. Now let's see what needs to trigger this. Ooh, this is interesting. The on click for the user button needs to know about this. So we don't want to. Yeah, so in layout, we're going to have to wrap the header in the user provider and the notification provider. How's Kenzie Dodds doing this? Notifications. Oh, that's a path. Okay. Yeah, that's okay. And the notification itself needs to be wrapped in the notification provider. Yep. Yeah, that should work. Okay. So the notification, let's come in there. Let's import use context. And we'll grab it. We'll actually suck in the notification. Notification context is going to equal use context. Notification context. Okay. Notification. So the two things we care about, and this is just going to be the notification value. And we're going to say if not notification, return null. Okay. And this is where we're going to have to do the use effect. Because I don't think, can we use effects up here in context? Oh, I guess so. No, that'd be weird. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, so, and this is where we're going to say we're going to do the set timeout. In the set timeout, all it's going to do is set notification to nothing. Compiled with warnings. Where? Export notification context was not found. Notification context. What do you mean? I'll restart. In source components notification.js. Export notification context was not found. In context. Well, it looks like it's there. Import notification context. Because I can't spell, that's the problem. Okay, now we're compiled. Yeah, okay. So, I mean, this should technically be working, but nothing is actually setting the notification. So now what we want to do is come into user. Maybe I do want to do this state locally first. I think I do want to check out the previous branch. I'll do it afterwards. So we need something to actually set this notification. So over in the header, right, because the layout, we've wrapped the header in the notification provider. We could say import user context and notification context. And all this is going to need to do is set notification. So on login, we'll change this to on login to be a function. And on log out, cool. And now on login, we can set. Well, we can call it login first. And then set notification User logged in. Hello. Or we can be like, hey there. And basically the same thing on log out. We just call log out. And then we say goodbye. And it's like a sad face. Frown. Okay. Does it work? So log in. Not quite. What's going on? Notification. Did I spell it right? Set notification. And we'll go to notification. Set notification. Wonder what's going on here. Okay, header 40 is hitting it. Set notification is What about the notification component? Let's see what it's saying. Its value of notification is undefined. The notification component is wrapped in the provider. So it should change. Mm-hmm. Oh, I am not sure why this is going on. The header is calling on login, which calls the login method, which is setting the user. Yep. And is it actually calling setting notification? Yes. And is it getting past it? Yes. I do not know what's happening. Okay, this is weird. I don't know why it's not re-rendering. Because notifications should be changing. Okay, what's set interval? Handler and timeout. So 5 seconds from now, this should ding. Interval. And nothing's happening. All right. You know what that means? When I can't get simple stuff like this, it's time to go to bed. This kills me. It's so simple. Whatever. I'm going to wrap this one up here. Clearly, I'm too tired to be thinking straight. Look, you can see it in my eyes. Ugh. But I made some great progress here. I got the user context going. And ultimately, what I'm trying to show with this demo is that you can have multiple different pieces of state, and they all don't have to reside at global level. And what that's going to do is not make you have to use reducers and have this giant global state store and have everything re-render when one thing changes in the global state. You have a little bit of separation, which is good. I'm going to keep working on this nightly. I may not be able to stream some over the weekend because we'll be out of town, but once I come back on Monday night, you'll definitely see me stream again, update you on the progress, and I still need to make a slide deck here to kind of set this up and then walk through it. I'm probably not going to code this live. It's too much. And honestly, it's too much for me to remember. I'm just going to walk through the different branches and show the progress on each branch. So thank you guys for watching the stream tonight. Pretty happy with my stream setup, honestly. And I'm going to keep pushing it forward the more and more I do this. So thank y'all so much. Catch you in the next one. Peace.